Hey everyone, welcome to the Alba Method and our 30th and final day of our movement challenge. I just want to say thank you to everyone who participated in this challenge. It has been such a blast moving with you all the last month. These classes are all going to stay on the channel, so please come back to them whenever you feel the need to move. Today's class, we're going to be coming full circle to where we first began with a nice Sunday slow stretch. You're just going to need your body and your mat. When you're ready, I'll meet you there. Okay, today we're going to start in a tabletop position. So go ahead and come to all fours. And as always, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders and the hips over the knees. And I want you to just take a moment to check out your space, check out your stance. Get connected to your breath, your body. You can gently close the eyes or find a nice steady gaze. And just pause here for a moment. Just breathe. Good. And start to take your hips back towards your heels, just stretching through the arches of the feet. And then start to shift forward, taking the shoulders over your wrists. And do that again, taking the hips back towards the heels. Again, just keeping a nice, soft, steady gaze, and then taking the shoulders over the wrists. And do that one more time. And then coming back to your center. Taking your hands so that the fingertips face away from each other and out to the side, just start to tick-tock your shoulders side to side. And then start to make little, slow clockwise circles with the arms, getting into the shoulder girdle, into the upper chest. And as you're ready, switch that direction and just go the other way to counter and balance out the body. Good. And then coming back to center, shake out your hands. And we'll take the top of our left hand down. So really pressing through the top of the hand and the top of the wrist. And then spin the crease of your elbow towards the front of the space as you gently just shift your hips back towards your heels. Nice subtle movement. Just feel a nice stretch through the wrist. Nothing forced, nothing strained. And then shake that out and just switch sides, bringing the top of that right hand down, moving the crease of your elbow towards the front of your space as you shift back ever so slightly into the hips, just until you feel a stretch. Beautiful. Shake that out, coming back to your center. Just step your right foot back, keeping the ball of the foot on the mat, pressing through the heel. Good. And then just switch that out. Step your left foot back, pressing through the ball of the foot and stretching through that heel, through that calf. Beautiful. Coming back to center. Take your left hand out and start to roll that left shoulder down as you gaze over to your right. The palm is to the sky and just press through that left shoulder, letting it relax on the mat, using your right hand for support. And then coming back to center, switching that out. Spin that right shoulder down, looking over your left shoulder, pressing through the top of the hand, using that left hand for support. And gently coming back to your center. Bring the hands back underneath your shoulders, walking the hands forward ever so slightly. Start to send your hips up to the sky, coming into a downward facing dog. And start by keeping the knees nice and bent so that you can really start to explore the upper body. Pressing down and forward into the palms, stretching the arms as you stretch the chest. Just take a couple breaths here. You can lift and lower the heels. You can just keep the knees bent and stay stagnant. Whatever feels good here, just exploring the body. Just take a couple breaths to just get connected. Let the head relax between the arms, soften the face, soften the gaze. And then bend your knees and just gently step your feet towards the tops of your hands. Again, keeping the knees bent. Good, and from here, go ahead and bend your knees, step your feet towards the top of your space. Keeping the feet nice and wide, keeping the knees bent, just drop over those legs. Let your head be nice and heavy, shaking it out, no. Nodding it, yes. Just pause here. Good, if your legs are straight, start to find a halfway lift, and if they aren't, start to bring your hands to your shins as you straighten the legs, finding this shape. And then from the belly, let that bring you up to a standing position, rolling out the shoulders a few times in one direction, really exaggerating that movement, creating some movement through the shoulder girdle, and then switch directions. Good, and then reaching those arms up, just stretch up to the sky. And press your palms together as you bring your hands through heart. Follow the gaze down to your fingertips. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, hands to heart. Good, 1 more. Inhale. And as you bring your hands to heart, just close the eyes and pause. Feel your feet gripping the mat. Feel your legs strong, but the shoulders soft. Good. From here, open the eyes, reach those arms up once again, and start to take a side body stretch to your right. Just pause here, feeling that length through the left side body, and then just gently switch sides. Good. Coming back to your center, taking the hands to the low back, supporting your low back. Just lift the chest, lift the gaze. And then coming back to your center, just folding over those legs. Coming back into your forward fold, and then from here, finding a halfway lift, just step your left foot back to find a lunge, bringing your back knee down. And just pause here, allowing the hips to sink down towards the mat, bringing your hands to your knee, just stretch that hip out. Just taking a couple breaths here. Good, and then releasing your hands to the mat. Start to shift your hips back halfway, flexing that right foot, and then take both hands over to your right side, pushing your heel into the ground, and just really flex those toes as you stretch that right leg. Notice if you feel the difference with the hand placement. And then gently coming back to your center, just shifting into those hips. Go ahead and pick up that back knee, keeping your hands at the top of your space. Just switch out your legs. Step your left foot to meet your right, and then step your right foot back, setting up lunge on the left side. Bring your back knee down, and once again, interlacing those fingers on top of the left knee. Squeeze your right glute and just breathe. Let the shoulders relax. Let the gaze be soft. Let the breath be fluid. Then start to frame that foot once again as you shift your hips back halfway. Walk both hands over to your left side. See if you notice a difference, and then really flexing those toes, pushing that heel into the ground. And then coming back to your center. Good. Picking up your back knee, bringing your right foot to meet your left. Good. Take a halfway lift here and step back to your downward facing dog and just stretch. Again, pedaling out the heels, taking whatever organic movement feels good. Good. From here, stepping your right foot forward, you're going to spin your right toes towards the left side of your mat and start to come into this Skandasana lunge. So bringing your butt all the way down to the mat. Taking your hands to the inside of that right knee and just flex that left foot. So I'm using my right bicep to kind of push my right knee ever so slightly away from me as I shift over that left leg. Just breathe. Good. Coming back to your center, take your hands behind you as you come out of that shape, spinning your right toes forward, taking your left heel to the sky. Bring your back knee down once again and take the hands on top of that knee. Pause. Good. Shifting your hips back halfway. Use your hands to guide you, and then take both hands over to that right side once again. Good. Coming back to your center, framing that foot, start to pick up your back knee, walking those left toes in just a little. Start to straighten your right leg, bringing your forehead towards that right shin. Pressing down and forward into the right foot to keep the leg nice and protected. And just breathe. And if the knee stays bent here, that's okay too. We just want to find that stretch in our individual body. Beautiful. Bending that right knee. Plant your palms and just step back to your downward facing dog. Reset. Good. Step your left foot forward and we'll just switch sides. So spinning those left toes towards the right side of your mat. Spinning those right toes towards the sky and coming all the way down to your butt. Keeping this left arm where it is, I'm just going to shift over that right leg, countering that left knee with my left bicep. So pushing that left knee away from me as I fold over that right leg. And notice how I'm using my hands for all the support I need, especially if you're feeling tight. And then we'll use our hands behind us to pick ourselves back up and coming back, rotating towards the top of your space, bringing that back knee down again. Take your hands on top of that knee. And then as you're ready, shifting back into that half splits with both hands on the outside of the left leg. Flex your left toes. Just breathe. Beautiful. Coming back forward, start to create that pyramid prep. So walk your right foot in as much as you need. Straighten your left leg, pressing down and forward into those toes. Just let your forehead fall towards your shins and just practice finding that stillness in the mind and that breath. Good. And then coming back to your center, just reset. Plant your palms and step back to your downward facing dog, pedaling out the heels. Just breathe. Good. From here, walk your feet towards your hands, coming back to the top of your space, coming into that forward fold. Once again, just let the head be heavy, pulling the belly in, staying strong through the legs. And then taking a halfway lift, let that bring you all the way up. Bring your palms to touch. Take that stretch over to the right and over to the left. Good. Coming back to center, just take the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, and just roll the shoulders back as you extend the arms. Just lift your hands until you feel some resistance. Draw the ears back over the shoulders, pulling the low ribs in, being strong here. And then everything reaches up once again. Stretch up and exhale, diving over those legs. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Take a halfway lift and just step back to your downward facing dog. Take a breath in and just let it go. Good. From here, you're going to step your right foot to the outside of your right hand this time, bringing that back knee down. Just pause. Use your hands underneath you for support. Really standing on that front foot, and if your hips are super tight, turn those toes out to face about 1 o'clock. Take as wide as a stance as you need, and then you're going to bring that left hand out to the side for support, taking my right hand to the inside of my right knee as I roll to the outer edge of that foot, really leaning away from that right leg. Keep pressing through the heel of that left hand. Stay supported through the upper body. Good. Coming back to your center, and if you're okay here, start to come down to your forearms, pressing down into your forearms. You can use a block here or just stay up on your hands. Just breathe. You can let your head and your gaze drop down, but find almost a cat round spine, so push into the elbows rather than collapsing in the upper back. Whether you're on your hands or your elbows, keeping the upper body strong and stable. And then slowly, gently come back to your hands. Picking up that back knee, sweeping that right leg up to the sky, pause, and then just bend the knee and let that heel open, let the hip open. Good. Releasing to your downward facing dog. We'll just switch sides, stepping your left foot forward for that runner's lunge. Bring your back knee down. And once again, if your hips are tight today, turn those toes to face 11 o'clock, bringing your hands right underneath the shoulders for support. And energetically, I want you to imagine dragging your hands back to pull your heart forward. See if you notice a difference in that. Just breathe. And you're going to take your right hand out to give yourself some space, rolling to the outer edge of that left foot and using my hand on the knee to push away as I lean back. Just creating some space, creating an opening through that hip joint. Good. Coming back to your center. Plant your palms. And then if you're good here, you can start to drop down to your forearms or block or stay on your hands. And one side's always going to be different than the other. So again, nothing forced, nothing strained. Go where your body needs to go today. Good. As you're ready, go ahead and coming back to those palms, tucking your back toes. Sweep that left leg high. Keep it high as you bend the knee. Let that hip open. Keep the left foot flexed. Lift the knee higher to the sky. Beautiful. And then release to your downward facing dog. Just pause. Good. And then from here, go ahead and drop down to your knees. And just shifting your hips to one side. Extending those legs out in front of you. And then you're going to take a nice wide stance with the legs. So nothing forced. We don't want it to be impossible or unbearable. But take the legs apart to where you feel a stretch. And then you're just going to let your hands kind of guide you to where you feel some resistance. You can always sit on a pillow or a block here if that helps to support the hips. And if this is too much, the legs can always be here too. This is another great stretch. I want to flex the feet and start to press my inner knees towards the ground, getting the quads involved for a nice deeper stretch through the hamstrings. And just pause here, just breathe. Notice where you are. Good, and as you sit up, taking your right hand to your right shin or to the right ankle, just take a side body stretch through that left arm. Staying heavy through this left hip and breathing right into that left side body. Just reach to that right foot. Start to spin your gaze as you rotate that left shoulder open ever so slightly. And then we'll switch sides, taking that left hand to the shin for support, reaching that right arm up and over. Again, breathing into that right rib cage, staying heavy through the right hip. And coming back to your center. Good, so we're going to take your right shin to the mat first. Taking this left ankle on top of the right knee, coming into this double pigeon or fire log pose. If this is too much for the hips, figure 4 is where we'll be. And fire log is not going to look the same for every person. Today my hips are very tight, so this is what my double pigeon looks like. Eventually this left knee will get down to the foot, but it's not necessary. You can also place a block right here too. But keep the feet flexed and just pause. Notice what you feel. Again, if this is completely unbearable, coming into figure 4, we're getting that same stretch. But if you're good in this double pigeon, you can start to walk the hands forward if you don't feel anything here, but if you're feeling it, just bring the hands behind you for support. Find some length through the upper body. Take a breath in. And just send all of your exhale into those tense places, those tension points, the tightness. Just breathe. Good, and as you're ready, start to lean back, taking the legs wide once again, and just finding a gentle forward fold to the middle of the legs. Just pause here. And then we'll switch sides. So we're going to bring that left shin now, parallel with the top of the mat, or close to, and we'll take that right ankle all the way on top of that left knee. One thing we want to make sure is that this foot isn't sickling and that we're finding pressure on that right ankle. We want to press this heel into the top of the knee and keep that foot flexed. And again, this is going to look different for everyone. It's going to be different for each side, so just take your time and just explore, experiment. Close your eyes, and again, just sending your breath to those tension points. Sending your breath to that urge of wanting to get out of this as soon as possible. Just pause. Pausing in this discomfort. Just noticing it for what it is. And then slowly, as you're ready, gently releasing that. Taking your time to come out of this posture as you extend both heels and just walk yourself back over the legs. Framing the legs with your feet, just let your forehead drop towards the shins. And again, just going to where you feel tension and just pausing in that tension. Good. And sitting up, go ahead and scoot your hips towards the top of your space, pulling your knees back into your chest, and just pause here, rocking side to side or taking circles across the ceiling, whatever feels best for your body. And then taking your feet wide, just dropping the knees to your right and over to the left. Good. Dropping the knees to your right. Take your right heel, place it on top of that left knee, letting that left hip come up. Keep the feet nice and flexed. Take your left arm, palm up, right over that left shoulder. And just again, breathing into this left side body. Noticing what's happening in that left hip. And just being aware. And allowing yourself to reflect on the last month of your movement. You should be very proud of yourselves for taking this time. We very seldom allow ourselves this time to just be, to move, and to create our own space. So give yourself that honor as we finish up these beautiful 30 days. Go ahead and switch sides, uncross the feet, dropping your knees to the left. Take that left heel on top of your right and your right arm up and over. Just breathe. So again, just noticing the body, noticing your space, noticing where you're at. Keeping the feet flexed to protect your knees. Stay heavy. And then gently, as you're ready, coming back to your center. Pulling both knees into your chest, coming into a happy baby, grabbing for the outer edges of the feet or the ankles, spinning the toes out as the heels come in. Staying heavy through the back side of your pelvis and the back of the head, the backs of the shoulders relax. Gently pushing the heels up as the toes pull down. And bringing the soles of the feet together, drawing the heels down towards your pelvic floor, sweeping the hip. And then we'll switch that out. So take your feet wide and let your knees fall to the midline. And you can tick-tock those knees in and out. That feels good. Or you can work on just pressing both knees to the midline and notice what you feel. Kind of a reset in the hips, the low back. And then we'll switch that out, bringing the soles of the feet together, opening the knees. Just bring your hands to your belly and start to breathe right into both hands. Allowing yourself to just be here, to be present for just another few moments. And as you're ready, closing those knees, pulling both knees into your chest, take your right leg down to the mat, pulling that left knee in, really flexing through that right foot. Start to drop that left knee over to the right side and cactus that left arm, and just pause here, using the hand on the knee as guidance. Letting that left shoulder relax. Letting that bottom hip relax. And then gently coming back to your center and switching sides, pulling that right knee in. Take your left leg down to the mat. Pull the knee in close to your chest first. And then guide that knee once again across to the left side of your body, cactusing that right arm and letting that right shoulder blade relax on the mat, letting your low back relax, letting the hips get nice and heavy. Again, nothing forced here. If both knees bent is better, that's great. so good. Once you feel balanced, coming back to your center, wrapping your arms around your shins, bring your forehead to your knees. And then take a full body stretch. So just expand into all that space we've created. And then bringing your arms down by your sides for just a moment of stillness. We set up Savasana the way we would any other pose, any other shape. So getting rid of those last fidgets and just allowing yourself to surrender to stillness for just a few breaths. Continuing to gain feedback from the body, scanning the body, just noticing how you feel. Noticing the difference between day one and today. And on your next inhale, start to point your toes, once again reaching those arms up overhead. And gently making your way onto one side and pausing on one side for just a moment. Just recognizing this posture for what it is. A new beginning. A clean slate. A fresh start. So press yourself up to your seat with that new and refreshed energy, crossing the legs or coming onto the knees, and bring your hands together in front of your heart, sitting up tall. And you should all be very proud of yourselves for taking this time, for carving out the space, for making it happen. Give yourself that honor and that salute and that grace. Bow your chin to your chest. And as always, this energy is yours to keep. Take it with you. Bringing your thumbs to your forehead, lift your gaze and find gratitude today for whatever it is we're grateful for. And in that gratitude, we bow to this practice and to all things. Namaste. Thank you all so much once again for joining me today and the last month. It has truly been a pleasure and an honor. We'll see you next time. Ciao.